Hello and welcome to the short podcast from the Center for Sustainable Innovation and the 5C Network, where we explore how community, creativity, collaboration, circularity and capacity building can drive more sustainable futures. I'm Dr. Silvia Tedesco from the Center for Sustainable Innovation and lead of the 5C Network. Today I'm joined by Tom and James from the Making Rooms in Blackburn. We've been working together on the project Your Miniature Greenhouse, funded by the Royal Academy of Engineering, and the sister project Sustainable Homes for the Future, funded by Friends of Energy House 2.0. Can I please ask my guests to introduce themselves?
Yeah, I'm Tom, Director of the Making Rooms, so I oversee all of our projects and run the organisation.
Hi, I'm James. I work for the Making Rooms. I handle a lot of our youth provision and training.
So, Tom, can I ask you to introduce the Making Rooms a little bit and tell us about the mission?
Absolutely, yeah. So the Making Rooms is a digital creative innovation space, a maker space based in the heart of Blackburn in Lancashire. We've got all sorts of machines, as you can imagine, laser cutters, 3D printers, CNC routers, potter's wheels. So it's a really nice mix between technical and creative and traditional. And we open to the public for free every weekend. And then we run various different training programs, work with different organisations to get more people using sort of digital creative technology. And in more recent years, we've had a big focus on sustainability. So things like plastic recycling, repair, biomaterials, and interventions with universities.
Climate action.
Absolutely, exactly, yeah. Working with researchers and working with industry and community. So it's that sort of bridge between those three parties.
So the Making Rooms is all about creativity and innovation. James, how have you found people to be able to explore and express their creativity to the project that we delivered together?
So part of the project when we were in the schools was they got to sort of design and build their own house and install a lot of sustainable options in it, like solar and heat pumps and that sort of stuff. So the entire of that sort of process was a very informed, creative process. And I think we saw the other element of the creativity come out when they got to decorate the houses with all the colouring they were doing, and they're making someone made a frog out of paper and that sort of stuff. It was a very, very creative process in the whole, I thought.
Tom, there is growing awareness of the green skills gap, particularly in engineering and in the construction sector. How do you see projects like this one helping to prepare young people for the skills needed for a more sustainable future?
Yeah, thanks. I think the exposure, I think, is a really big part of it. That sort of to inspire young people and sort of even for them to know that these careers and these industries exist. I think from personal experience, when I was in sixth form, a family friend said I should be an engineer, and I was interested in computing, electronics, and what have you. And I'd never heard of an engineer. The only thing I could think of was mechanic, and that just seems crazy to me now, kind of thing. Yeah. And that's for industries that have existed for a long time, and 50% of jobs for these young people will be new jobs. So that being able to expose them to all those different careers and inspire them and be like, oh well, this is I find this really interesting and it's really exciting.
Yeah. And I guess some of the pupils have never heard about or rarely hear about higher education already at that stage in primary school. So I guess for them, it's about starting to picture that career path and the steps that they need to take then to get there.
It's that little seed, and I think I see it as sort of, if you went back in time and you sort of changed one thing kind of thing, and that sort of that arc that happens in the future, that's sort of the divergence that you can have by those small interventions early on. And it's a lot of what we do at the Making Rooms in terms of the community coming and us supporting youth organisations. If you can make a small change and then get them to they're excited about making choices and be like, oh, I want this for Christmas.
Yeah, it is about excitement in the end of the days. Yes, especially at such an early age.
Yeah.
So James, in terms of shifts in mindset, if there was a shift that you noticed in how the pupils have participated and they started to think about sustainability and innovation, what would it be?
I think that there's definitely a lot of technical language around tech and engineering and innovation.
Yeah.
But I think that the project really helped the young people sort of get a better grasp of them and an actual understanding. And even the sort of the short activities we were doing them with the water time and the light bulbs and that sort of stuff. I think it definitely helped in that regard.
Yeah, we also through the evaluation forms received some feedback about the new things that they learned and how some of these things that they learned about sustainability were actually changing the way that they were behaving in the house. I got a few kids to promise that they would be very mindful of the time they spend in the shower, because they didn't know, for example, that they use a lot of water and they have to try and keep their shower under 3 minutes. So I think from your perspective, were you surprised by this change, or you've seen it in other projects that you rolled?
We have actually seen it in other projects and with our partners projects as well. I think one sort of comes to mind as an organisation we work with called Super Slowway in British Textile Biennial, making sort of garments out of flax. But it's obviously took a lot of time, a lot of volunteer hours, and they make sort of one garment.
Absolutely.
And there's a research element in that, but I think for the participants, it was a case of, wow, let's change our buying habits because it's so much work.
It's like,
so much energy.
Wow, we didn't know this.
Yeah, absolutely. You think like, it's just it can't. It's so cheap. It couldn't have been that much work, or it couldn't have been that many resources, and it really is. And so I think it's a really I think the project tackles multiple different areas, but I think certainly sort of...
And I think more than understanding the problem, that maybe the things that they've never considered before, I found that they were really enthusiastic, especially empathetic with the biodiversity side of the project. They really loved to be involved. They wanted to have a bee hotel in their school. They wanted to start looking at meadows in the front of the school. So I think it's both the components that actually change behavior, is understanding the problem and how their behavior affects the problem, but also they feel empowered by the fact that through this knowledge they can do something practical about it.
And they're going to take that through their whole life, and it's going to grow, and they're going to inspire other people. I think it's been amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So looking ahead, what kind of change do you hope projects like this will spark locally and maybe more widely?
Absolutely, yeah. We work locally, obviously, in Blackburn, but we also support youth centres, across the country. And so that idea of we come up with local solutions to local problems, but then a lot of the work we do can spread further, and similarly with this project.
It's like ripples in water.
Yeah, and it's a case of like, right, well, we'll make something that's sort of replicable in other areas, and then it's tailorable to local context. Thinking about like we work with Grimsby Youth Zone, for example, and they've got a lot around sort of energy production, green energy production, and those sorts of things as well. So like, how do we sort of tailor to those elements? And I think we're trying to inspire young people, but hopefully into industries that are in their local area as well, and so those sort of tweaks that we can make, and that's on that sort of more national basis and potentially international eventually. I think it is really important. Again, it's that case of what's the seed that we can plant now, with the view of the trees that are in that area.
Absolutely, but you need also collaboration with other stakeholders in this ecosystem, isn't it? You can't do it all alone.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Whose help do you think you need?
Certainly government of course, is the big one, and funders, and but certainly schools and universities and youth centres.
What role? I was going to ask you about the youth centres. Do you think they play a key role in this? Yeah,
definitely. I think they would play a similar role to how we do, I guess, and sort of the more than the delivery side of things, rather than the sort of coming up with interventions and things. But we've seen. I think it's that element of like supporting schools. So like my background's educational electronics, and lots of devices go into schools, and Raspberry Pis and microbits and 3D printers, and there's a fear there as to like how to use it, or like it breaks and what have you. And I think sort of areas, like maker spaces and youth zones that have a making zone, as we call them, like are that element of support and that sort of exposure to the teachers as well of these different elements. So it's that sort of trying to build that scaffolding across the country that we can come up with ideas,
Yes.
and it sort of goes across this platform, this scaffolding, to then support schools across the country.
Yeah, but then we need them also for legacy, don't we? Because these projects that we do, they need to be delivered within a certain time frame, and then we sort of step back. It's always important that the youth centres or teachers are able to take on the challenge and then continue the work beyond the duration of this project.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've talked about that sort of training package kind of thing, and that's what we do. James does for the youth zones in terms of training them up, so then they can go off and deliver it.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of saying certainly locally. It doesn't matter. So long as it's happening in the borough, it doesn't have to be us doing it, kind of thing. So if we can support, if we can activate local organisations to do the delivery that we typically do, brilliant. We'll go on to the next thing, and I think that's true sort of nationally as well. If we can help build this scaffolding structure, come up with some interesting ideas, and support the training to get other organisations running this and then continuing to run it.
And then continuing, because I think that's important then to achieve real impact.
Absolutely,
you have to continue.
Yeah.
So, James, in terms of meaningful outcomes, what have been the most meaningful outcomes so far of your involvement in these projects?
I think we've given a lot of young people some more options for careers. I think there was a lot of young people that were very, very interested, especially the lads who are calling themselves the engineers.
I was going to say, they're
really enthusiastic. But and I think we've instilled a lot of soft skills and definitely helped with the development of those soft skills in terms of creativity, critical thinking, teamwork, communication, all those sorts of things, which I think are really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, them sort of seeing that's how the team works, sort of commercially kind of thing, and they all have different roles in the teams.
Well, yeah. They love the building, the miniature building model activity, also because they were in teams, and then you can see actually the personalities a little bit reflect in the roles that they want to take and they want to play as a team. Which I think also is really important, is a skill now that everyone needs in a job or in a career, to be a team player. And then you can see also patterns of leadership developing in some of them, which is really nice to see.
I kind of want to get them like little uniforms of the different roles and things. But yeah,
we found people that particularly love to be an accountant.
They want to handle the money.
We did have some. Yeah, for context, we had some fake.
They were contending the role a little bit.
Yeah.
So a question then, the final question for you both in terms of hopes and next steps. What are your hopes or plans for the next few years, and where do you hope this collaboration and project will go next? I know we have some plans, but yeah.
I think we want to deliver some in Blackburn, don't we? To some sort of our local primary schools and that sort of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of the maker rooms in general, like as you know, we're expanding, so we've got 1.5 million expansion for our basement and a third floor on the roof, and the roof is going to be all about urban agriculture, biomaterials, environmental, climate, sustainability, technology, and we want that to be that platform again for the link between academia, industry, community,
and the communities.
Yeah. So we're really excited that. Alongside that happening, like this project's growing to meet that.
It does sound like a very, very exciting development. I'm very happy for you both.
Thank you.
Right, so thank you both so much, Tom and James, for sharing these reflections. It has been really fantastic to hear about the creativity, the skills, and the community impact on coming out of the project that we shared. And hopefully, we are making plans for another big project. Finger crossed, coming, being funded. And to the people that are watching us, I would like to say, if you want to hear more about the work of the Centre for Sustainable Innovation and the 5C vision at the University of Salford, please visit our website. And thank you for watching.